we got week 6 to get to, and time's a ticking. So let's dive in. We have week 6. Ooh, man, this season is flying. I'm telling you, it's going.
Look at who wore it better here, Chris. Who wore this green better?
Someone. I don't think Scott is salty right now. He's not that salty. Oh my lord!
I just won. I feel great.
the suits. All right, who wore green better in this picture? I think Gino.
Football wife is still with us, by the way, Deacole. Someone else just asked it, and she was like, "Yeah, I'm still here." Thanks for hanging, football wife.
Cuban says Fazoli's, man. Fazoli's. We haven't. Well, they're shutting down, man. They're not around. But
like fast food Italian seems odd to me. I just don't trust it.
I'm saying. So let's dive in. Week 6. Now, Scotty, we are kicking off with this game, and we both have a little bit of love in this one. We both love one particular team. Scotty, you want to kick this one off? Cardinals at Seahawks. Right now, Cardinals are favored by 3 in this one in Seattle. I mean, honestly, I'm like, this is kind of a strange line for me to see the Cardinals in this position here. And the over-under is 50.5, so there's going to be a ton of scoring. Geno Smith has proven he can throw the ball a little bit. And I looked at this line, Scotty. I was mistaken. I was like, wait, this line, Cardinals -3, Hopkins must be back. And I'm like, no, wait, it's only week 6. This line weird. It's weird, man. Yep. Go ahead. Talk about this one.
I agree. I feel like the wrong team is favored in this one. This is super bizarre to me. An Arizona team that has underachieved kind of on both sides of the ball. I know they were competitive against the Eagles last week, but still found a way to lose that game. Dare I say it, like the Seahawks are a better offensive team than the Cardinals are.
Yeah.
Now the Seahawks defense is not great. Hasn't played that well, but I don't know if the Cardinals can exploit it with how they've been playing. Now, once they get Hopkins back, maybe that changes things and that offense starts to explode. Like, they're a team I would love to maybe bet in week 7, week 8, once they get Hopkins back, because that offense seems to be a lot more prolific when Hopkins is in the lineup, which makes sense. Because Kyler can't see, but if he can just throw it up to the outside and guess where Hopkins is, it helps a lot. I really love this who wore it better, Chris. I'm going to take Geno in this who wore it better, and I'm going to take Geno in this game. Give me Seattle +3. I mean, we're not even talking about that Seattle might have the biggest home field advantage in all of football. I just don't understand this line at all. It's really bizarre to me. It's almost scary to me, but I'm going to ride with the Seahawks +3.
One of your best bets?
It's almost one of my best bets, for sure.
And it's crazy. We're on a best bets agreeance. Like we're killing it this year where we agree
2-0.
2-0. We're gonna make it 3 because this is one of my best bets as well. I love Seattle in this one. I'm not sure the Cardinals are better than the Seahawks at this given moment. Like, the offense was supposed to regress against the Saints defense, which the Saints are supposed to have a good defense, and they ended up putting up 8.1 yards per play, scoring 32 points. Like, Seattle's defense remains, an issue. I get that. So I like the over in this one too. I didn't bet the over, but I like the over quite a bit in this. So, but they have home field advantage. They have the better coaching staff, in my opinion. Pete Carroll, I would take over Kingsbury, and the better quarterback here, which is playing, he's Geno Smith is playing better than Kyler Murray at this juncture. So why wouldn't they be favored in this one? Why? I mean, you're taking this Seattle team and you're just like not giving them a lot of credit against this Arizona team. I like Seattle a ton in this one, guys. So, I mean, one of my best bets of the week too, +3. I just changed the LMA. So
Football Wife was so inspired by Kyler Murray's outfit here that she changed her screen name color to green. She was that inspired.
Hey, I mean,
loved it that much.
I'm telling you.
Is it still called a screen name? Is that what it's still called, or is that wrong?
That suit screams like 1990s Mountain Dew commercial. That's what I get from that suit.
Really? Because I get Hillary Clinton It makes me think of Hillary Clinton, Chris.
Oh man, it's either way, it's bad. Either way, it doesn't look good. So, yeah, unbelievable. All right, so there you go. Seahawks, Cardinals. We like the Hawks. Look at this dude.
Look at this dude.
Oh my gosh, Hillary. Yeah, with the pantsuits. Man, remember she used to rock all the pantsuits? Oh man.
Well, she might continue to, Chris. I've heard murmurs that she's gonna try and run again.
Is that a thing? I
did hear that, actually.
I haven't followed anything in that whole category of politics. Yeah.
Broncos says 4-1 Avs, Chris. You got to be careful.
Oh, they just scored a power play goal.
Avs are on pace to probably score higher than the Broncos.
Oh, man. It was Lehkonen was on that one, I think. Looks like. Hey, thank you so much. Hauser, what's up, fella? What's good? How we doing, brother? How we doing? Hope you're doing well. Thank you for the 3 months. How's your week going so far? Arturi Lankinen has 2. Devil Doc, thank you for keeping us updated on this one. 4-1 Avs. Let's go. Shots on goal, 19-6. This is like reminiscent of what we saw in the playoffs last year, where they were just out shooting everybody. It's amazing. Chicago has 5 shots on goal. No, there's 6 now.
I mean, now maybe 6, but that's wild. Chris, we don't literally, the Avs don't need a good goaltender.
No.
They didn't have one last year, and they won the Stanley Cup.
And they didn't have one the previous years. And I mean, the
defense in front is so good. So good.
Yeah. Next up,
Devil Doc's sure we got an elite one, though, regardless, with this Georgie guy.
George, if we can pronounce his name.
Georgie. We got Frankie and Georgie.
Frankie and Georgie.
I like it.
Hey, Georgie. That's yeah. Doing good.
Was that an it? Was that an it thing?
That was one.
Bruh.
Yeah, pretty much. That was an it reference. Did you watch the It movies, by the way?
I did not watch the new ones. I saw It as a kid many a time. Yeah. Like the original It. I have not seen the new ones.
So, side note, I get my wife. So Lauren, she owes me one scary movie a year. I don't know which one I'm going to pick this year yet, but she hates scary movies, and I was like, you got to watch at least one with me every single year. I haven't decided. I need to pick one though. She loves Halloween. She for that exact reason. All right, Ravens at Giants. Now, Ravens are favored by 5 in this one, and this one over under 45. So, you know, we got 2 teams that like to run the ball. You got the Giants, who Saquon Barkley is absolutely he's having an insane season, and he's absolutely incredible. Then you have the other side, the Ravens, who, you know, you don't know what you're getting week to week. They could be up a bunch and give it back, and then they could be in a close one, a bunch of close games. But Scotty, what do you like about this one? What's the most intriguing part of this game that you are looking forward to?
I don't have a great feel on this one. You know, I keep thinking like, all right, are the Giants for real with this 4-1? You know, prior to beating Green Bay, and are we sure Green Bay is a good team? I don't know for sure based off of how they played so far this season. But prior to that, they kind of beat some less than good teams, obviously. Got beat up by Dallas, but Dallas is looking better and better as the weeks go on here. Ravens, I think, are actually really good. Ravens are a team I like to bet on right now, but this line feels pretty steep in one direction. Like, this is, I mean, even if it's only 2 points, this is saying Ravens would be favored by 9 in Baltimore. I don't know. That seems a little steep for me, but I don't know that I can bet for sure on the Giants, just not trusting, you know, I don't know if I can trust Danny Dimes at times. But if I had a lean, I would probably take Giants +5 in this.
Yeah, I think Giants +5 makes sense, only because they've been competitive in a lot of games, and they can control the ball on the ground with Saquon. So, I mean, and I think this game has actually crept up a little bit more to, I think, 6 potentially. I mean, I think it's kind of bounced around a little bit.
And I'll be right back. Code yellow.
Spam code yellow in the chat. This game is already projected at 6, which means that people have putting money on the Ravens. So they're trying to move this, but Bateman is not practicing yet. I think G-Girl asked about Bateman. He is not practiced at all, which doesn't look good. The fact that they've kept him out, I wouldn't, for fantasy purposes, probably feel good about him in my starting lineup moving forward this week. So you might want to just, keep tabs on it, like leading up to game time, but it sounds like he's maybe not going to be in the mix for this week. So we'll see. But I do, if I'm going to bet any side in this one, I think I do like the Giants at home to cover 5 in a close one. If you have two running teams, I don't know if Lamar's going to be able to just move the ball a ton through the air. And I think this is going to be just a ground attack from both sides. And the under is 45 total points. So I don't expect a ton from either of these teams. And metrics say Giants defense is actually good, says Double Doc. Yeah, I agree. I think they're better than advertised. So take the Giants if you're going to bet on this one. That's the lean. I didn't bet it, but G-Girl, let's go. G-Girl's Giants. Trying to get another dub and prove everybody wrong. Prove all of us wrong, because we're just kind of like trying to figure out, are the Giants legit? And each week they keep winning. We're like, yeah, I think they are getting a little bit scary in the fact that they might be good. And that's scary to think of a team that a team like the Giants that is 4-1, right? At 4-1 teams, you're like, man, they're fine. They're really good, but like, we haven't bought in yet. This might be the week. If they could get a win against the Ravens, maybe we change the way we look at the Giants. Next up is the matchup of the week. This is an afternoon game, actually. And we got Scotty's Chiefs. The Chiefs going against the Bills. This is going to be a matchup for the ages. Matchup for the season. This is one of the best matchups you will see in the regular season.
It's the best matchup in the regular season. Right now, by all accounts, this is the top 2 teams in the NFL in most people's opinions, right? Maybe some people throw Philly in there, but now overall, like if you're picking a real life playoff game with everything on the line, would you really pick the Eagles against either of these teams? Because I wouldn't.
No, these two teams strike me
They're
as
the cream of the crop.
The Super Bowl contenders for this particular season. These two teams look stronger than anything coming out of the NFC. Now, the line on this one was 3. It's dropped to 2.5. And I think that's because a lot of people were jumping on Kansas City plus points. Again, Kansas City is getting points at home. The best offense is getting points at home. It's really strange. This was almost one of my bets of the week, Scotty, and I didn't end up taking it. But the Bills are fresh destroying the Steelers, a result that might have surprised some people. I think it surprised us. Like you had the Steelers as best bet, but why else would this line move? I think the Bills could very well be the best team in the league, but at the same time, the Chiefs, you just don't give the Chiefs points at home. Like that's just a weird thing to do, given the fact that you have Patrick Mahomes, you have one of the best offenses in the NFL, and I don't know. I think that there's a deflated number based off of how the Chiefs looked against the Raiders, because that was a close game. That could have gone either way down the stretch depending on how the Raiders would have executed. But I just from this circumstance that I'm looking at this game, if I'm betting this one, I love the Chiefs getting some points at home. Now, are the Bills good? Yeah, they're gonna be pretty good. The thing that scares me and what scared me away from this game was the fact that this is Josh Allen's Super Bowl. Like, remember we were talking about the Seattle Seahawks Super Bowl against the Broncos week 1, and there's just that motivating factor. I think this is the same case for Josh Allen and the Bills. They had that heartbreaking game to finish out their season, and I just think that they are going to come into this one and have a lot of motivation. But I like the Chiefs. I think I like the Chiefs to win and cover this one. I didn't bet it for those various reasons.
I mean, as far as motivation, I think both teams are going to be wildly motivated. I think you're right. The Bills coming off that heartbreaking loss in the playoffs. In fact, losing the last 2 years. I want to point that out. The last 2 years in the playoffs to the Chiefs. They probably want this one. They did win in the regular season in Kansas City last year. But if you're Kansas City, like you look at it and like everyone's saying like, oh, like the Bills got screwed. They didn't get the chance to have the ball in overtime. They even changed the rules for overtime based off of this perception that the Bills got screwed in this game. But both these photos, by the way, that's Travis Kelce sealing the game in the playoffs last year with the touchdown in the overtime. And that's Josh Allen after the game, looking up the score and realizing he had, in fact, lost. I agree with G Girl though. Like the over, like 54.
The over
seems wildly low to me,
which is crazy to say about
number.
That's crazy to say about a number. 54.
But do you not? I mean, the winning team's going to be at 30, and the losing team's going to be higher than 24. Like I think the floor for the winning team is 30 right here. So I think the over is a good pick. I probably, now looking at that, maybe that's even better. I took Chiefs +3, Chris. Listen, Mahomes has never been an underdog at home in his career. This is the first time as a Chief in his career in the NFL he's been an underdog at home. However, he has been an underdog 8 times. Only 8 times, Chris. You know what his record against the spread in those 8 games is?
8-0?
7-0-1.
Ooh.
He did push on 1, but the other 7 he won against the spread. So when you bill Mahomes as an underdog, I just feel like he takes it to another level. I feel like now I know it's a little shorter week for the Chiefs after playing Monday night, but it's going to be an awesome game, Chris. Like, obviously, this is thrilling to watch, and it's not going to be the last time we're going to see these teams play. These teams will absolutely face each other in the AFC playoffs. Scotty, would you do a 6-point teaser and do over 60? The problem with a teaser here is, like, if Buffalo wins, a lot of times they just seem to, like, win by a lot. So teasing Kansas City at now they're at 2.5 up to 8.5. I don't hate at all because Chiefs rarely lose by more than that. I don't hate it at all. And do over 60? Are you teasing it? So you're teasing it up? You would want to tease it down. I don't like teasing totals in general because teasing one side is far more effective than teasing a team total where like both sides can affect it, right? Like. I guess I don't know if I'm explaining that well, but I don't like teasing totals. So
if you're teasing it over 60, they're teasing the under is what you're teasing, right? Because like then it's the number's going up, so you're getting a better number on the.
Yeah, so, if you tease, I wouldn't hate a teaser of Chiefs 8.5, 9, whatever you can get it, and over under. I'd take the over on 48 and feel pretty good about that.
So so if you wanted the over in a teaser, you would tease it down 6 points, and you would get the 48 over 48, and that would be almost, a pretty solid pick. Everyone else, easy over. Bills all the way, says Pork Chop. What's up, Chop? How we doing, my friend? I know you were in the chat earlier, so sorry we missed you. Chiefs are getting points at home, probably because they got bailed out by the refs and barely beat Las Vegas, says Chairman.
I'm sorry, they got what? They got bailed out by the refs? I don't know if you saw that roughing the passer call or not, Chairman. But that was the singular worst call I've ever seen. And I don't care about that field goal that was missed. If we actually have it, by the way, Chiefs kicker in practice today, looks like he'll be back. Our first round corner that we lost week 1 going to be back, and he's locked down. He's our best corner, actually. Trent McDuffie out of Washington is locked down. And Bucker should be back this week, thank goodness, because we've had 2 kickers since then, and it's been a disaster, Chris.
It's been rough.
Why is it so hard to find 32 people in the world that can kick a field goal? It doesn't seem like that should be that hard.
Yeah, and there's only like 2 incredible ones, and you
don't notice if you're a team that has a good kicker, you're like, kicker position's not that important, and then all of a sudden you have a shitty kicker and you're like, it might be the most important.
It changes the way you think.
So much.
I have a feeling Mahomes always an underdog when competing for attention at his own home. Says Cuban.
He's fine. By the way, a quick rant that's a little off topic, but not totally. Speaking of home and whatever, this week, Chris, did you see the Kyle Brandt rant after the Thursday night game? Talking about Russell Wilson, and he literally brought up Sierra in the sense of they came to the NFL awards together and they walked by and said no thanks to an interview with Kyle Brandt or whatever. And people were like, he went way too far. He was kind of clowning on Russell and like his persona or whatever. Did I talk about this before? Did I talk about this on Sunday?
Yeah, a little bit.
Never mind. I can't remember.
We get what you're going. Yeah, like the standard versus the home life versus of Mahomes versus Russell Wilson and like the whole thing.
He gets picked on all the time because that's all you can attack.
So
I thought once I started talking about it, I'm like, I talked about this before. I'll stop.
The Eagles found a backup kicker and he won NFC Player of the Week, Special Teams Player of the Week, says Reckoning. Harry Butker is on the mend, said Cuban, and everyone's loving the Harry Butker reference, but too tired to troll Scotty. Somebody pick me up as chairman.
So chairman, go back, watch every single field goal or extra point that the Chiefs attempt in that game against the Raiders. That dude, Kuntz, for the Raiders, does the same thing every single time. And yes, it's not called often, but apparently they're finally, by the fifth time he did it, they're just like, we have to call it at some point. He does it on every single, and I guarantee he was coached to do it. And it is technically a hold. It is a hold. Do I love that call or whatever? No. Would the Chiefs won regardless? Yes. Yeah, they still would have won.
Scotty doesn't like when Harry Butker has to sit. Yeah, it's true. I
not hate it.
Isaiah McKenzie about to go wild on KC, says Chop. By the way, when are we going to get enough? We got it. Locally, we have Chop in town. We have a Cuban Benny. We got a few people in town. We got to get a watch party locally here for like a Chiefs game or for something. We have to figure that out. But
yeah, Chairman. But you're ignoring the worst roughing the passer maybe ever. It might have eclipsed the one on Sunday with Tom Brady.
Tom Brady one was rough. It was not rough. It was.
I mean, was the one that was roughing the passer when he was no longer even in possession of the ball and Chris Jones had the ball, and not to mention used his other arm to break the fall and still got called for roughing the passer? That wasn't worse. I mean, and by the way, that turned into a field goal for the Raiders, and then the Chiefs, instead of probably getting 7, got 3 at the last moment of the half. That's a 7-point turnaround too.
LeBron doesn't even get calls like that.
True.
Yeah, it
was not only a 3-point swing. How do you call it a 3-point swing? The Raiders scored 3, but the Chiefs would have been 1st and 10 at the Raiders like 40. You don't think they're getting 7 there?
Milwaukee says, yeah, Chris Jones' call was terrible. I mean, and this is, and let's go back. So this is a thing that we're talking about, and this is almost partly because, and I think Nick Wright had a take on this too, and where we're going with you might have seen this take, Scotty, where we're going with, what's up, P3?
What do designer jeans and cheap hotels have in common? No ballroom.
No ballroom. That's true.
I can't argue that. I cannot argue that.
Let's go. Let's welcome in P3. So the interesting theory with what Nick Wright said was all the concussion stuff is taking away from players wanting to hit quarterbacks. So with that being said, they're calling more, which makes players not want to tackle, which means eventually this could be a situation where, and it's going to suck that if this goes this direction, but he was like, this could go this way, where you get your hands on the quarterback and you're not allowed to tackle him at all. And it's more of like a 2-hands touch kind of vibe, because, who wants to watch your quarterback get knocked out? Because with the new concussion protocols, you get knocked down and you kind of get up a little wobbly, you're out for the game. Like, that's the new protocol, bar none. So that is, I mean, when you're in the NFL and you have a playoff game and Allen or Mahomes kind of gets up slow and kind of, is unstable, even though they might not have a concussion, do you want to watch the rest of that game if they're not going to be competing with the best of the best? I mean, and then it's a slippery slope that we're on with this concussion stuff versus, these calls that are happening. And, it's a weird landscape that we're in with the quarterbacks and all this stuff.
Chairman, the Chris Jones call wasn't as bad as it's being made out to be. He landed on Carr with his weight. They changed that rule in 2018, just as Clay Matthews. He landed on Carr while bracing himself with his left arm while holding the football in his possession in the right arm. Chairman, this is literally your worst take ever, saying that was not a bad call. Like, I don't even know what to say. Chris, I think it's going to go the opposite direction. If the NFL continues to judge roughing the passer and make awful calls like this, as a defensive player, and you know that a little wobble and they're out for game, go for the gusto. If you're gonna get called anyway for roughing the passer by just hitting the quarterback, why not go all in and lay him out? Honestly, Chris,
the NFL doesn't want to see like star quarterbacks.
This is what they're doing by calling these awful calls with Brady and the Carr hit. They're making it so, like, why not? If I'm gonna get called for it anyway, why don't I just get my hit in? Why don't I literally do everything I can to knock this quarterback out of the game and help my team win? Because I'm going to get called for it anyway.
Then you got vibes of the Saints from back in the day, Bounty Gate. And
I'm not saying it's bounty. I'm not saying you purposely try and hit him, but you might as well just hit him as hard as you can and see what happens, because you get called for it regardless. It literally doesn't matter.
It's just a strange landscape because this. I mean, you're right. It could go the other way, but I mean, realistically, it's going to change. Like, things are being looked at now, and it's going to change the way the referees are making these calls, because you can't win one way or another. There's going to be issues no matter how you look at it from a defensive standpoint. And you just, like, the product, you want to protect the quarterbacks, but you don't want it to be what we saw this past week. Like, it's a little much. So what do you do? So that's just where we're at. And it's crazy. NBA looking more enjoyable by the week, says Chop. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the usual, there's no consistency with the penalties for all games, says Broncos. True. Just make it flag football then, says Hauser. Yeah, like, I mean, it's strange. We have a loose goose.
And you're not going to do that. So, yeah, apparently there's a loose goose in Dodger Stadium right now.
Oh, loose goose. Breaking news.
We've seen a lot of, like, rally cats or, like, cats running around or squirrels
Where
on fields, but I don't think I've ever seen a goose.
Where's Kevin Harlan?
I've seen Randy Johnson destroy a bird.
Is Kevin Harlan on the call? Like, if so,
he's on both calls.
They're calling him the rally goose since he's landed LA. I mean, that isn't there always something that weird happens? There's like a rally cat, rally goose, like some weird animal runs on the field, and it's like, yeah.
In the house, they have several loose gooses in LA. Oh, they got a lot of loose gooses in LA. A lot of, if I think what you're referencing, a lot of them. Way too many. It's actually a danger to society.
Yeah. Bengals Saints. Scotty, you have a best bet in this one. This is an interesting one too. And, you have the Saints who, I mean, you have Taysom Hill here, he's like Tim Tebow-esque with how he gets the hype around what's going on with him, scoring 4 touchdowns last game, just going nuts. Then you get the Cincinnati Bengals here, who are coming into New Orleans as 1.5 point favorites, over under 43 against this. I'm losing faith a little bit in the Saints defense. I mean, we've kind of been a little off them recently, but let's just say you have a better bet in this one. I didn't touch this game. You like the, I believe, the Saints in this one?
I'm teasing the Saints.
You're teasing the Saints.
Saints are in a teaser for me. So I'm not saying the Saints are going to win this game, but I get them up to, I actually had them at -2. So up to +2. So up to +8. So I have Saints in a teaser where they just got to win or lose by less than 8. To go along with another teaser that we'll get into later. But yeah, I don't know. I just the over under in this is 43, and you can give me 8 points on one side of it. I feel pretty good about that. And this is a really important game for both teams. They're both 2-3. You don't want to get to 2-4. 3-3 feels a lot better than 2-4. Moving forward, do I think the Bengals are a better team? Yeah, and I know that the one concern I have is the Saints are so beat up at the wide receiver position. Michael Thomas hasn't been in a couple weeks. Olave, who's been awesome,
he had a concussion.
Looks like he might not play this week. Like, so many guys out, but they can just hand off to the Mormon Tebow, as someone said in the chat, and just like play ball control, play like whatever you got to do. Like, because the Bengals offense is still trying to figure it out. Like, we watched them Sunday night. It's just that explosive offense. The offensive line isn't there. I don't know that they make enough adjustments on offense to like adapt for that and run different type of routes and plays to like maybe get Jamar Chase in space. Like, Jamar Chase in space is like unbelievable, but for whatever reason, like, they don't necessarily throw like quick hitch routes or wide receiver screens to Jamar Chase and get him in the open field. I'm not questioning a coaching staff that made the Super Bowl last year. They're far smarter than I am, but they're not in sync yet. You give me with a low total here, I get 8 points with the Saints. I'm going to take that.
Yeah,
I think the Bengals will win in a close game.
I agree.
But give me the Saints +8.
I could picture this being like a 26-24 game or something. I feel like it's going to be within reach. I mean, I think taking the Saints and teasing them is the right side, only because I think the Saints D will get after that Bengals offensive line a little bit. We haven't had exactly the most stout offensive line, and then the New Orleans Saints, we have been kind of down on their defense, but they're still making plays throughout some of these games. So I think it's enough to keep it close. I think I lean more towards what you have with the. I didn't bet it, but yeah, I mean, taking the Saints plus extra points is fine. Higgins is the man. I hope he can play a full game, says Chop. That's another question too. Like, I mean, is he going to be available? Is he going to have any issues? Is he going to, that's a big. I mean, that's
Higgins
a big piece.
Higgins is just as important to that offense as Jamar Chase is.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyone remember the Detroit Tigers rally, Goose? I do not. I'm trying to think. Maybe? No, because
the Tigers almost always trying to rally, but they're usually rallying from being like 30 games down in their division.
I'm trying to look at what's going on with this Goose here, because everyone's all about the Goose right now in the chat.
Lot of goose gander going on right now, Chris.
Hi-oh. Yeah, let me take a look at this Goose real quick, because it's just all about. Oh yeah, that Goose. I mean, it's not. It's.
Is it a nice goose?
Yeah,
is he friendly?
Yeah, he's just chilling. He's just chilling on the field there. Yeah, doing his thing. It's like a brownish goose, like a grayish goose. It's not like a normal goose you would think of. But hey, hi-yo. Buy or sell Mixon's career. Mixon's not exactly.
I need more like specificity. They're like, what do you mean by his career? Mixon is never going to be elite, but is always going to be above average for a while now. I mean, for the next years. No, he's above mid. He's just not like elite. He doesn't have elite traits in my mind. And he knocks people out when he's in college. So.
Hauser, Grey Goose vodka. Yeah, maybe this is the Grey Goose's chance. This is
a sponsor opportunity for Grey Goose to dive in there.
If Grey Goose doesn't become the sponsor of this series, they're missing out on cashing in big. I'm telling you, they need to be in on this for sure. Hold on to him so long. Why hold on to him so long? Mixon is struggling, says Football Wife. What if since he had a dominant
figure out the run game? I would not dump Mixon this season. I think they're gonna figure it out a little more, and he's gonna be pretty solid in the second half of the year.
Code Yellow, chat's yours, Double Doc. Yeah, hey, Code Yellow for Reckoning in the chat. I'm about to take a Code Yellow here in a minute, but we're gonna get into one of the bigger matchups first. Cowboys at Eagles, guys.
Big one.
Cooper Rush show is hitting the road, and we are going to Philly. Philly obviously is the best team in the NFC at the moment, only undefeated team. So Dallas is the biggest surprise team with King Cooper. He's crowned and everything.
I'm gonna use that picture every week. If I have to.
And he is going to be the savior for this Cowboys team because they're gonna ride. Forget Dak. Get Dak out of here, Scotty. Get him out. He doesn't belong here.
Don't forget Dak. This is just a joke.
Oh no, the chat's gonna start just blowing up. Cooper Rush.
So stupid. There are literally national pundits that are saying they should stick with Cooper Rush, and I'm like, that person should be fired on the spot. Fired on the spot.
This is a fascinating one. Eagles -6 at home against the Cowboys. Now, this is a bigger test for Cooper Rush to go on the road in a hostile environment. So this will be an interesting one, knowing that last week the Cowboys did struggle a little bit offensively. So will they be able to keep up with the Eagles? And then the defense of the Eagles has been, pretty decent, right? Well, I mean, they haven't really shown a bunch of holes and a bunch of situations where they give up massive plays all the time. So with that, Scotty, what do you like in this one? I think you have a best bet in this.
I do, and I actually got it at 6.5. I keep cheating here for you guys, but I got Cowboys plus 6.5. I think this is going to be a low-scoring game on both sides. Listen, I know the Eagles' offense has been dynamic so far this year, but you look at who they played. They played the Lions, might be the worst defense in the league. Sorry, Chairman. The Vikings, the Commanders, Jaguars, and Cardinals. None of those defenses even hold a candle to what Dallas's D has been able to do so far this year. And I don't think Cooper Rush is going to be able to sling the ball around. I think the Cowboys are going to have a conservative game plan, trust their defense, keep this game close, and see if they can win it late. I like the under, although it's such a small number. I mean, 42 is a very low number.
It is.
That's what gives me pause. But when you see an over-under like that, and I can get 6.5 with Dallas, who's, won 4 straight, looked pretty solid, especially defensively, has looked phenomenal. Everyone talks about Cooper Rush. Cooper Rush has been, he's done what the game plans asked him to do, but let's be honest, it's the defense for Dallas. It's the defense. The Dallas defense has been phenomenal. The best defense I've seen in Dallas in a long, long time thus far. Now, can they keep it up? We'll see. But, Micah Parsons, Tank Lawrence, Diggs has been incredible on the back end. They have so many pieces. They've played so well. I think the Cowboys keep this game close. Do they win? I think they could. I definitely think Dallas could win this game, Chris. I'm in a Survivor League, and this is one of the higher spreads that's available to me based off of teams I haven't picked yet. And I am not touching the Eagles in this one. Not even close.
Yeah, I think this is a tough one. I didn't touch it only because I'm like, I could see the Dallas Cowboys running away. I could see the Eagles. I think this is going to be, I think you're on the right side of the betting aspect of it. Because, low scoring games, rule of thumb, you pick the team that is getting the most points. And you're getting 6 to 6.5 points on this one in a low scoring 42, over under 42. you gotta like that a lot. Now, keep in mind, Dallas Cowboys have played against the Rams, who without Cooper Kupp, the Rams strike me as like a 6-win team this year without Cooper Kupp.
Wait, why are you saying without Cooper Kupp?
No,
he played.
No, he played, but like I'm just saying, he's the bright star on this Rams. There's nothing else the Rams are. I'm just saying the Rams are not good.
Okay.
So the Cowboys beat the Rams. They beat the Commanders the previous week. They had the Giants. They beat the Giants 23-16. So
only team to beat the Giants, Chris.
Only team. Yeah, correct. So, with that being
said, and they beat both teams that made the Super Bowl last year. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yep. Yeah. But you can't say, I mean, the Rams aren't the same team that won the Super Bowl last year. They're not the same caliber of team. I mean, let's be real.
A lot of the same players. They're not playing nearly as well.
No.
For sure.
But you got to lean a lot on the defense. It's going to keep this, I think, a little bit more low scoring. So I like your pick +6.5 on this one. So I think the game plan that McCarthy has been, and we got to give McCarthy some credit too, right? I mean, he's the one that's putting together the game plans. And
no, he's not.
You don't think so?
If Dallas wins,
no, he's not putting any game plan together. McCarthy is just a manager at this point of people. The defense. I mean, it's Dan Quinn on the defensive side of the ball. It's more on the offensive coordinator side. No, McCarthy's literally just like a manager at this point that like makes a speech and makes sure everyone's happy and keeps the team together. And like, I don't know, he doesn't do anything else.
Cooper Rush doing the bare minimum. Cooper Rush will throw 303 TDs and run for another. Dallas 31, Philly 21. Philly defense is not that bad, says Devil Doc. Reckoning.
No, Philly's defense is good.
Reckoning. Thank you for the biddies. If Dallas wins, Scotty has to buy a Cooper Rush jersey.
I mean, we might have to ban Rec. He literally had a statement that was literally that Cooper Rush is the next Joe Montana. I don't know what to do with that, Chris. That's the single most asinine thing I've ever seen in the chat.
I mean, you've seen,
and do we have to insta ban for that? We've never insta banned, but that's close.
Salty.
That's not salt. That's not salt. Help me out, chat. Is Cooper Rush the next Joe Montana?
Joe Montana. I mean,
Roger.
I don't know.
Thank you, in the Hauser.
It seems a little out on the edge there.
I'll drink to that.
Says Broncos. All right, so this will be this will be one of the better games of the weekend as well. We talked about
this is the second best game of the week, and this is Sunday night. We'll be covering it, Chris.
We'll be covering this one live, so make sure you are here live. Sunday Night Football, we will be doing bingo. We will have probably a lot of bingo squares for Cooper Rush, because why not? Maybe we just do a whole blackout Cooper Rush bingo board.
He is Joe Montana.
He is Rush. King Rush here. And don't tempt me. I will do a full board of Cooper Rush props, and we'll see what we can get.
I don't know how you could find that many props for just Cooper Rush.
You got running, you got throwing, his over-under on running is probably like 3 yards, 2.5 yards.
You're going to have to do like first quarter running, first quarter passing, second quarter running, second quarter passing.
Oh, man. Who knows? All right. Well, fair enough. All right. Next up, we have Broncos and Chargers. This is a Monday night showdown here between the Chargers and the Broncos. Now,
dangerous.
It's dangerous. It's spicy. I will do it. All Cooper Rush is reckoning. He wants it. Is Dak the new Drew Bledsoe? Says Cuban.
Oh my gosh, this is getting out of control.
Dak is the new Drew
Bledsoe. I thought us talking about feet was the wildest part, but it turns out the Cooper Rush comparisons are the wildest part of our show this week. He's compared to Joe motherfucking Montana.
Meanwhile, Russ is eating sandwiches and losing games left and right. So Broncos at Chargers. Chargers are favored by 5 at home, which is, it seems to be. I was on both sides of this line. Then when I initially saw this, I was like, Broncos +5. We're getting back some players. We got some guys off the injury list. We got, I think Simmons is coming back. We also lost a couple. We lost Darby. We lost Mr. Bowles. Yeah. So we lost a couple guys, but we gained a couple decent pieces back. This defense is still good, and I was tempted. 45.5. I was tempted to look at the Broncos +5, and then I was like, I could see Russ just throwing like out routes all game, and then the Chargers running game just got back on track. So I mean, the one thing with the Chargers, they haven't been good with Eckler in the first few games of the season, but then all of a sudden last week he exploded. I feel like he's getting a little bit more rhythm into the offense. So I was a little worried there, even though the Broncos defense is good to keep this, I think, a close game to cover 5. I think the Chargers still win, but I don't know. I stayed away from it. I think the Broncos lose this game, but maybe it stays a little bit closer than what people think. I mean, you still got, I mean, even Herbert is playing better, even though he's hurt. My question is the wide receivers for the Chargers. They've kind of piecemealed a bunch of wide receivers. Like, they're injury prone. They don't have a lot of depth. They've been somewhat productive. So that, I mean, there's that, but I don't know what to expect at this game. I think the Broncos lose this game, but I just don't know what to expect from like a close game perspective.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at the Broncos, and they haven't. Yes, their defense has been very solid thus far, but they haven't exactly faced, outside of maybe the Raiders, like a good offense yet, right? Like, you look. I mean, the Colts, the Niners. I mean, the Seahawks are figuring things out and better than we expected.
Seahawks
on
look
offense.
like a better offense than a lot of teams now.
But to be fair, the Raiders kind of put it to the Broncos in that game offensively. That was the one game the Broncos defense didn't necessarily show out on. This Chargers offense is really, really good. So there's no chance that the Chargers aren't scoring like at least 24 in this game, Chris. And the Broncos haven't scored 24 all season.
So, I mean, do you like Chargers -5? I mean, it's not one of your picks of the week, but if you were to bet this line...
Here's my thing. Chris, I'm in a survivor pool that had like 130. There's 12 of us left. I have to either take the Chargers this week. I'm down to the Chargers, or I'm taking the 49ers, who are at Atlanta. Those are like my two options this week. And I'm trying to figure out, help me out, chat. And then if I lose and you guys are wrong, it's your fault.
I'm torn. I want you to pick. No. That's mean. I'm not going to say this. I'm not going to say what I was about to say.
Rack, I can't take Tampa. I've already taken Tampa. I took Tampa actually last week.
I can't. So. Yeah, I can't say what I was about to say. If I'm gonna be a good brother-in-law and tell you what I would pick, it would be San Francisco. San Francisco is probably the best team in the NFC. One of the best teams in the NFC, behind the Eagles.
But Atlanta's literally played a close game every game.
I understand that, but I just don't.
And it's in Atlanta. That one's a road team. I mean, am I leaning San Fran? Probably, but I just don't see how the Broncos hang with the Chargers either.
I think the Chargers win, but here's my thing. The mean thing for me to say as your brother-in-law would be, hold on one sec.
10 subs and we get all Cooper Rush bingo board.
10 subs. All right, deal. Well, can I do that? Is that doable?
Like I said, you're gonna have to go like first quarter, second quarter.
Well, I gotta figure out how I would do that, Rec, because I don't want you everyone to sub and then it becomes like super shoddy. But The mean thing I would have said is, knowing your history in survivor pools, I want you to take the Chargers, knowing the Broncos will upset them.
You could easily say that. You should have just said that and not held it in. It doesn't offend me.
I didn't want to hurt your feelings by any means, man.
Can you?
Because eventually, I mean, you're down to 13. That's kind of big money now.
12.
Yeah, it's big money.
Yeah. So we're talking 4 figures here, Chris. This isn't nothing.
So part of me, deep down inside, wants you to take the Chargers, knowing that it could be upset alert written all over it, and the Broncos could come out with a win. But that's just my petty side. If I were to have that side come out,
I don't think the Broncos win that game. But am I leaning Niners? Probably. But the Chargers aren't a terrible choice.
No, and
I'm just worried the Chargers will do something stupid. They always try and do something stupid. They tried to lose against Cleveland last week by going for it on 4th and 2 on their own 40 up late instead of just punting the ball away. They literally do stupid things all the time. They should have lost to Cleveland. Cleveland missed a field goal to win the game, but
if there's one team that I'm terrified of choking something away, it's the Chargers. So just throwing that up. But
look at that guy on the left hand of that graphic, Chris.
He can only get better. Whose coach makes a worse move, says Cuban. Most likely it's going to be Denver's, and that's easy.
Hackett's way worse.
At least analytics come into play when,
Super Cooper says Chairman. He's just poking the bear.
Everyone loves Cooper. It's because people hate the Cowboys that people are like, Cooper Rush should be their starter. It's because they literally hate the Cowboys. They don't believe that. Well,
we'll talk a little bit more about Broncos Chargers coming up on Sunday Night Football when we are wrapped up with our stream covering all the other games, and we'll kind of do one more quick preview if anything changes. But yeah, Broncos Chargers Monday night. We will be covering all these games.
Again, they're on national TV. And the Bears, Chris. The Bears have been on a Sunday night. They're on Thursday night tomorrow. Then next week they're on Monday night. I'm like, why do the Bears ever get national TV games? It drives me nuts. I understand the Thursday everyone gets, but the Bears get so many national TV games, and it drives me insane. Because it's not like you're going into the season being like, oh, the Bears are going to be good. No, the Bears are shit. Their market is not big enough to warrant the amount of people that aren't going to watch that game because the Bears suck nationally.
It's just the fact that they're in a big market, man. Chicago wants to see their team on national television, I guess. And even though they're not good, this is part of it. Jets, Packers. I know we had a little bit of some JETS in the chat a little bit earlier. Busful was all about the Jets getting a win against the Packers. I think Milwaukee's might have something to say about that. But Scotty, kick us off here. I'm going to take a quick code yellow, and I will be right back.
Yeah, I mean, this one's interesting. Packers are a team I can't take in Survivor, but I don't know that I would. Packers seemed angry that they had to go to London. They played like they were angry that they had to go to London. Now you're returning from London. You have the Jets are 3-2. Okay. Jets are 3-2. These are 2 3-2 teams, whether you want to believe it or not. Jets are a little bit up and coming, and the Packers just don't seem like they have it figured out. And I actually have a really, really interesting stat. So this Packers vaunted defense that I thought they were going to be like the top defense in the league. They haven't played that way thus far at all. But what I did find was a stat. Give me 1 second to pull this up so I don't say it wrong. Okay. The Packers pass defense, when the other team does not run play action, is the number 1 pass defense in the league. Number 1 pass defense in the league so far this year. The Packers on plays that don't involve play action. On plays that do involve play action, they are the number 32 defense in the league. So they're literally the best passing defense in the league when play action isn't in there. And they're literally the worst passing team so far this year when play action is in there. Okay. What do the Jets do? They are number 2 in play action usage rate in the league thus far this year. So they run a ton of play action. So part of me is like, I like the Jets to keep this close. I don't think the Packers run away with this at all. I think this is going to be a very competitive game, and call me crazy, but the Jets could get to 4-2 here.
Ooh, you're calling for a potential upset. If you're looking at that, plus 270.
Chris, I threw out a stat real quick that you missed. The Packers defense this year is number 1 against the pass on plays that aren't play action. They're number 32 against the pass on plays that are play action. So they go from the best to the worst when play action's involved. Jets number 2 usage rate in play action so far this year. So they run a ton of play action. Not a great setup for the Packers, whose offense is still figuring it out.
I think it's a sneaky game. By the way, Joey Killen, welcome in. Yo, I'm down 3K this NFL season. I need professional help. Well, you came to the right place.
You came to it.
You came to the right place because we are releasing our best bets
soon
coming up here. Don't go anywhere. By the way, who's your team, Joey, and where you're from? Welcome, Joey. Let's give him a nice warm welcome to the Action Lab. But hey, it's all right. We're gonna get you out of your hole, Joey. We got you, man. Between Scotty and myself, we've been doing pretty good this season betting on some football. So yeah, we'll get there.
Milwaukee, why are the Packers going to win big? Tell me a reason outside of you being a Packers fan that the Packers are going to win big. Because outside of that Bears game, they haven't, which they own the Bears. They always beat the Bears by big amounts. They haven't looked good this year. They haven't looked good.
Joey is he's from San Diego, but still a Charger fan for the LA Chargers. Yeah, yeah. So we just covered the Broncos. We like the Chargers, even though I'm a Broncos fan here. We like the Chargers to win that game coming up. So hey, Joey, bold choice. So welcome in. Stick around. We're gonna do our best bets here very, very soon, Joey, and we'll get you back on track. Also, APC. From down under, Tampa all the way. He's I think he said earlier, I hope Tampa wins Monday, except for the fact that, Monday, I don't think they play on Monday. And he also said Chiefs really lucky, Raiders lost to 1 point.
Call it luck, or you could just say, hey, they came back from 17 down. By the way, Mahomes is very elite at that, way better than anyone else in the history of football at coming down from 10 plus points. So kind of what they do. Chris, I promise you, my buddy, another Chris, came over, and I wish you could have seen me. I was so relaxed when they were down 17, Chris. Joey. I was just like, thank you, Joey.
Joey coming in. He's joined. Let's go, Joey. Welcome
just
in, man.
Like
appreciate
that.
He also says, love the content and love the setup. Appreciate that, man. Let's go, Joey. Welcome to the Action Lab Rap family, man. If you have anybody else that's into sports that you know in Twitch, get them in here. Let's have some fun. But I'm with you a little bit though. Jets are sneaky. This is a weird one. The only thing that kind of gives me some pause in this one that makes me come back down to earth is besides Breece Hall's catch, they only add 4.4 yards per play. Jets defense ranks 28th on third down, and Green Bay is 8th when it comes to third down conversions. There's some discrepancies on the third down efficiency there. Jets are overvalued after a Green Bay team that is devalued from their loss in London. I think there might be some of that, but I don't know. They beat Skylar Thompson, and that was still kind of a close game for most of the game. That's why I kind of posited this one a little bit.
I don't think the public is moving on the Jets yet. I think they still think they're the Jets. They still think the Packers are the Packers, and I still think there's value with the Jets.
Sure. And so that's it. I didn't mess around with this game. I left it alone. 45.5 is the over/under. So it's a decent scoring game, average scoring game, so nothing too exciting there. But Packers, can you imagine if Aaron Rodgers loses this game, how he's going to rip into his team after the game or at halftime, or what's going to happen? It's going to be
Did you see at the end when Danny Dimes and Rodgers met at midfield? Danny Dimes asked him if he was okay. And I was like, was that like him like throwing shade? Like, oh, you okay, buddy? You just lost the game? Like, is that what he was doing?
He was just like,
I don't know if Danny has that in him, but maybe he does. I don't know, G girl, you're still here. Did you see that? Does he have that dog in him?
Ooh,
and
Danny.
Aaron was just like, I'm fine. Get anyone to get the hell out of there. But like, maybe Danny has a little dog in him.
Man, that would be perfect though. I need Danny to have some dog in him too. Like I need him to have a little bit of that, like that swag, that swagger. You know?
Yeah, like you lost the first draft we had in the history of the show today. Chris, are you okay? You good? You good? You gonna be all right?
Oh man, did I miss the Vikings Dolphins? You did not. I don't think. Oh, we can talk about that.
We can talk about it. I don't know if it's gonna be a graphic, but we can talk about that game.
We'll talk about it for sure.
It's just
Jets
players are out.
Parker says Jets beat the Packers, then come to Denver. I mean, it's
They do.
Man, I can't imagine.
And probably be what if the Jets are road favorites against Denver? I don't think that'll happen.
I don't think that'll happen either. Rodgers' hand is hurt, and that is what he asked about. So Milwaukee says, okay, all right. Vikings, I think, are contenders, says Joey. We had Vikings early on in the season to win that division, so we're high on the Vikings too. They're up and down a little bit, but they have weeks where they scare me, and then they have weeks where they're like, oh yeah, that's fair. But they've solidified themselves as a top contender for that division for sure.
I mean, we both picked the Vikings. They're 4-1. They've done everything we've asked, and I'm still not sure they're good.
Come on, man! What is this graphic?
Bucks and Steelers.
I don't always look at the graphics.
We got Tom Brady, that's the play he got roughing on, and then we got a picture of Kenny Pickett.
Oh man,
we got Kenny Pickett over there. Come on, man.
Says Devil Doc. He's clouded on your boys over there with the Steelers, man.
No, that's literally. I googled Kenny Pickett hands, and that's what I got, Chris. So I put it on there.
Kenny Pickett's hands. All right, Bucks and Steelers. Kenny Pickett is actually good, says Rec. And
might be early for that.
So Steelers at home after that embarrassing loss. It was just not even. I mean, we had higher expectations, I should say, for the Steelers in that game, and the wheels fell off. It was rough. But the Bucks come into town. Tom Brady, he's going to be getting some calls, obviously, because he's Tom Brady. Favored by 8 going into Pittsburgh. Now, after that embarrassing loss, Mike Tomlin was getting a lot of heat. I mean, we talked a lot about Tomlin last show and, the hate that he was getting. Scotty, I messaged you, I think, 2 nights ago.
Yeah.
And Tomlin was getting roasted.
Steelers fans are so spoiled.
Like, he was getting roasted about, like, get him out of here. He's trash. And I'm like, I thought it was just our chat thing. It's an actual thing. And I was just, wow, like, this is an epidemic in Pittsburgh about getting Tomlin out of there, how he's overrated, how he doesn't deserve to be the coach. And it was mind-boggling to me to see that that's a common thing in Pittsburgh. So I think Pittsburgh is in a rough place when it comes to where they see their team and how the expectations of the coaching now, and then the young quarterback. Like, Scotty, does this just scream Bucks -8 to crush again? Like, is this what we're looking at?
And I do think the Bucs offense is slowly getting into form. They're getting healthy. You got Evans and Evans was only suspended, but Godwin and Julio Jones. So I think their offense is getting there a little bit. Steelers, we got people talking about, that Kenny Pickett threw for 300 yards last week. How many points did they score? I think it was 3, Chris. I think they lost 38-3. I'll have to double check it. I'm just kidding. It was 38-3. So I don't care how many yards he threw. Do I think? Am I like? Is Kenny Pickett good? I don't know. Can he be good? Maybe. I just like making fun of his small hands. But he's not good yet. He likes to throw to George Pickens, which is smarter. But
Pickens is good, man.
This team in Pittsburgh is kind of a disaster right now, Chris. They can't really stop people on defense, and they can't score on offense, and that's usually not a recipe for winning. So I would actually still take the Steelers +8 stupidly, but I would not. But I'm not. It's not one of my picks of the week. I'm not touching this game. I wouldn't even dare, but I don't know that the Bucs are going to score enough points to separate themselves here.
Yeah, the Bucs are. I think they are getting into mid-season form slowly but surely. I don't know. I didn't bet it either, and for various reasons. Like, I just don't know if you're going to get a bounce back week for Pittsburgh, but I also don't know if you're going to get kind of a letdown. I mean, because I don't know. The Bucs haven't impressed me early on in the season. Will they be better? Sure, but when are they going to actually turn it on? I don't know, and that it might not be this week. So that's why I'm just staying away from this one for sure. I think if I was leaning anything, maybe it's Tampa. I don't know, man. I'm not touching it either way. Bucs will win this one. Will it be by 8? Who knows? But I think Bucs still win this game. They can
double dock. He still looked good. Talking about Kenny Pickett, second start against the best defense in the league. Debatable. I would not rank, especially Buffalo, who's not fully healthy, as the best defense in the league right now. But cut him some slack. I know. I'm mostly giving him shit. But could he be good? Possibly. Is he good right now? No. They put up 3 points. I don't care that he threw for 300 yards. That's empty stats if you put up 3 points in a game. Okay. Rack, y'all might want to actually see it. I saw this. He posted in the Discord or an attachment talking about how Cam Hayward was talking about not being a fan of Tomlin or liking. He retweeted something about Tomlin. Listen, I just think it's disrespectful. I would not do that for a head coach that's led me to a ton of wins in my career and hyped me up. Like, Cam Hayward might be more overrated than Mike Tomlin in that sense. Like, Cam Hayward to me is wildly overrated. And once TJ Watt is out of the lineup, it's kind of like, bye, Cam Hayward, you don't exist anymore. Big surprise there. But I would actually side with Tomlin over Cam Hayward. So I don't care about Cam Hayward's opinion, quite frankly.
I agree. I mean, Tomlin's done more for this franchise than Cam Hayward, in my opinion. I mean, overall.
No doubt.
So is it disrespectful? 100%. But when the veteran leader says that, you got a ton of issues. But
maybe he's the issue, though. Maybe he's the issue. He's frustrated. He wants to blame someone, so he's going to blame the coach when he's not doing anything on the field. What has Cam Hayward done on the field this year? Nothing. I mean, literally, the Steelers were so... G-Girl's right. Steelers were an awful football team last year, especially offensively, and they still made the playoffs. Like, they had no business being a playoff team last year with the roster, and they made it. Did they lose by 100 in the playoffs? Yes, sure. But they still made it.
5-2 Avs. Nichushkin, I just saw got that goal. So big ups. 5-2 Avs. 34 shots on goal to 16 to Chicago. There you go. Boom. 2:45 left in the third. Avs will get their first win of the season. Love it. Let's go. Defend that title, baby. All right. So there we go. Guys, that's going to be. So we wanted to talk about what? The Minnesota Miami game real quick. Because you guys, I know Jake or. What was it? Joker wanted to talk about that one. Yep. So, Joker, let's talk about that. Minnesota, Miami. Now, this one, we already know what's happening with Miami's quarterback, and that is going to be Skylar Thompson will be playing in this game, which initially, before that was released, there was a shot that I thought that the line meant maybe that it was, I think it was Miami was only... I think this line moved about a point and a half. But there was some holdout to say that potentially Bridgewater would play. And then when this line didn't move as much, it realized that it was already baked into this number that Skylar Thompson's playing this game, which Minnesota coming into Miami, I think there's a little bit of a home field advantage that you have to account for when this, because Miami, it's hot, right? We've seen other teams go down there and like, it slows down the game a little bit. The heat, it gets to a lot of players that aren't used to going down there, especially Miami. And Minnesota, I think, will have a little bit of that. That's why I think this is a little closer than you would expect, even with Skylar Thompson in the lineup. The Dolphins still have some decent options, but I think Minnesota, knowing Skylar Thompson's in this game, runs away with this one. This might be a bigger spread. If I kind of like Minnesota, it's an early game. I like them to cover this spread, but I don't.
You could not be more wrong, Chris. And can I tell you why real quick?
Tell me.
This came out today, and I can't stress how important this was that there was a full article written about it on ESPN, but this is really serious. So everyone take a deep breath.
Deep breath.
The Miami Dolphins today, on the heels of their 2-game losing streak, had their captains, Tyreek Hill, Terron Armstead, Xavier Howard, Landon Roberts, and Javon Holland all get together and make a incredibly important decision, Chris, in preparation for the game against the Vikings. They decided to remove the ping pong table from their locker room. Okay. Bruh. And this was a full article, by the way, on ESPN. So apparently Coach McDaniel's pretty pumped about the decision. This is great leadership. They really wanted to focus and hone in on this game, and to do that, they had to remove the ping pong table, Chris. What the actual F?
Like, what are we doing?
This is the articles we're writing right now? You like, I am not capping, G-Girl. This isn't 100% a real life story. They got together and were like, we got to focus more, removing the ping pong table from the locker room.
Oh my goodness.
What? I actually think Miami's probably the right side to pick in this with the points, but that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And what's worse is that people are covering it. I don't give two fucks about what you do with a ping pong table. You are paid to play football, and you have to worry about being focused enough where ping pong draws you away from it? You have deeper issues then. It's not leadership. It's crazy. I mean, what are we doing? And what's even worse is the media covering it. It's idiotic, Chris. It's so dumb.
Ping pong.
I go code yellow real quick. I thought I could make it before, but I can't.
So there you go. We give you all of the insiders info, including ping pong being an issue with the teams in this. Salty. Yeah, I don't know if that was salty, but like, I mean, it may be a little salty. I get that. Is Tyreek Hill hurt? Correct. So he's Yeah, there's some. He's like questionable. He's like in and out, and yeah, there's some things going on there. But I think he still plays. So Joey, I think that's an option there. Mr. Boofus, welcome in. How we doing? Seahawks can win this. Seahawks should win this. Seahawks should win this outright, and this is one of our best bets of the week. Let's go ahead and look at our best bets because we need to help out. Obviously, Joey is looking to get out of the hole this year, but we also have some bets here that we want to cover. But Dolphins going with a backup quarterback. Yeah. It's hard for me to not take Kirk Cousins early on. I think that overall the Minnesota Vikings are better, but I can see how this could be a sneaky game. Easy win, says Joker. It might be a little closer than you think. All right. So
it feels like the Vikings usually, like, once they get success, they try and fall apart. And that's my concern, is the Vikings at 4-1 are going to be like high on themselves, and they're facing a third string quarterback, and they kind of like shit the bed this week.
Yeah. So here we go. Best picks of the week for both Scotty and myself. Scotty's 11-9. I'm 12-7-1. These are updated with the losses.
Wait. I am not 11-9.
You were 11-8 going into last week, I believe.
Into Monday night. I didn't lose Monday.
You had Chiefs. Wait. Oh yeah. No, you're right. Okay, so yeah, you're 12-8. My bad.
Mm-hmm. How dare you?
My bad. Because I had Chiefs -7. That's why I was like, all right, I just blanketed it because you had them teased. So you are 12-8. There we go.
Thank you.
All right.
Looks
so 12-8, and I'm 12-7-1 in our picks. There we go. So, okay, need to bet Seattle +3. Got it, says Reckoning. We are 2-0 when making the same bets this year. We're changing the game this year, guys. So, that being said, we both agree Seattle +3 is probably the best bet to go, knowing that Seattle is the better looking team in this matchup against Arizona. Love that pick. Scotty, you love it too. Scotty, go ahead. Let's run down your picks here. You have one teaser that we didn't cover. Go ahead, cover yours, and then I'll dive into mine here in a second.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about New Orleans +8 already in that teaser, but Jacksonville we didn't talk about. Jacksonville, I think it's super weird that they're playing the Colts already for the second time this year, but I get Jacksonville +8.5 when they played the Colts a few weeks ago and won 24-0 against the team. I mean, the Colts offense might be actually right now is actually worse in points per game than the Broncos. They're last in the league in points per game, averaging 13.5 points per game. And I get Jacksonville +8.5 in a teaser. I don't know how I don't pull the trigger on that. I know Jacksonville laid an egg against the Texans last week, and everyone's back to thinking Jacksonville's not kind of the same old Jacksonville, but they can be the same old Jacksonville and still cover 8.5 against this Colts team that I think is awful.
Yeah. So Dallas +6.5, Seattle +3, KC +3, and then you have Jacksonville teased up to 8.5 and New Orleans +8 as well. So, all right, there you go. On my end, obviously Seattle +3. San Francisco was one we didn't get into really too much, but I think the 49ers are one of the probably second or third potential best teams in the NFC. I think their overall roster, I know G-Girl was mentioning that they got some issues in the secondary. I still think they're more talented than this Atlanta team. I got them 5.5. I think should be, I mean, from all indications, this should be closer to 7. The defense is legit, and they haven't leaned on Debo as much. You know, they have a lot of weapons offensively. They haven't skipped a beat, losing one of their best offensive linemen a couple weeks ago in Trent Williams. And I just think that, right now, San Francisco's first in rushing right now. They're moving the ball in a lot of different ways. I like San Francisco to cover 5.5 against a Seattle team that probably, against an Atlanta team, they keep things close. But this defense, I think, is going to hold the Atlanta down a little bit more than people think this week. So like Atlanta to not cover against San Francisco. San Francisco covers 5.5. The other bet of the week for me is this is kind of a bad game, realistically. Carolina and the Rams. I talked a lot about how, without Cooper Rush, this team is lost, and they're probably not even feeling at this point like a playoff team. The Rams haven't scored 11 points in each of their last 2 games. Dallas beat the Rams by 12 with 76 net passing yards. 76 net passing yards. Teams that get positive balance after they fire a coach, right? You got rid of Rule this past week, so you have a bounce back week after you get rid of a couple pieces on that coaching staff. PJ Walker is not much worse than Baker. Baker is a dumpster fire. And you're not getting much of a fall off with PJ Walker, in my opinion, in this matchup. You're getting 10.5 is a lot of points in a team that is probably on a brief upswing, changing coaches. I don't know. I really like Carolina plus 10.5 here. That's a lot of points to cover. And I know it's the Rams, but the Rams haven't looked good. The Rams haven't looked great. I mean, against anybody. Stafford's elbow, I don't know if it's his elbow or whatever, but they haven't been able to get Allen Robinson in a good flow. He hasn't been a factor. That was one of their big acquisitions over the offseason. I think the Carolina Panthers cover at least 10.5. They don't win, but they cover.
I think PJ Walker plays well.
Yeah.
Better than Baker, at least.
Baker hasn't looked good. So I like
Awful.
this. I like this